Hi everyone, welcome to another story time with Miss Oropeza. Today we're going to read Getting to Know the World's Greatest Artists, written and illustrated by Mike Venezia. And this one is based on Da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci was born in the small Italian town of Vinci in 1452. He kept the name of his own town for his own last name. When he was little, Leonardo drew pictures of plants, insects, flowers, animals, and birds. He drew what he saw in the countryside near his home. Leonardo da Vinci lived during a time when people all over Europe were becoming interested in art. They wanted their cities, houses, and churches to be filled with beautiful statues and paintings. This period of time was called the Renaissance. Gee, this kid is a pretty good artist. Yeah, it looks just like me. Hey, Leonardo, draw me. Me too. Leonardo was a great artist, but he became famous because he was able to do so many other things too. He was an architect, a musician, sculptor, scientist, inventor, and mathematician. Leonardo designed plans for beautiful churches, bridges, even whole cities. He used his drawings to help him see how things would work. Leonardo made lots of notes with his drawings. The unusual thing about the notes was they were all written backwards. To read Leonardo's notes, you would have to hold them up to a mirror. He probably didn't want people to read about his discoveries or steal his secrets. Well, what does it say? It says, "Don't forget to pick up a loaf of bread on the way home." Leonardo used what he learned from nature and science to make his paintings look real. In this painting, he made the angel wings from the things he had learned about bird wings. Leonardo knew how to paint beautiful plants, trees, and mountains too. When he was a teenager, Leonardo's father took him to Florence, Italy to learn about being an artist at the workshop of the famous Andrea de Verrocchio. Florence was one of the greatest art cities in Europe. When he was 20 years old, Leonardo helped his teacher finish this painting. Leonardo painted the angel kneeling in the lower corner. Many people in Florence thought Leonardo's angel was the best part of the picture because it looked much more like a living angel than the other stiff-looking figures. It wasn't long before Leonardo was asked to do whole paintings by himself. Leonardo painted beautiful portraits. In this picture, he used what he had learned about nature and science to make the background as realistic as a lady. Leonardo made this painting so smooth you can hardly see a brush mark. Leonardo was one of the first artists to paint the mother of Jesus smiling and playing with her baby. Before this, artists showed Jesus and his mother looking very serious. Leonardo was asked to paint these two pictures, but he never finished them. Nobody knows why. He left other paintings unfinished too. Maybe he got too busy with his experiments and inventions. The people of Florence may have heard about Leonardo's unfinished paintings. About 1482, Leonardo decided to leave Florence and go to another great art city, Milan. Hey Leonardo, when are you going to finish my wife's picture? When are you going to finish the painting in our church? If you don't start my portrait soon, I'm going to ask Botticelli to do it. Okay, I'll get right to it as soon as I figure out how to fly. Come back in 3 or 4 years. One of the first things Leonardo did when he got to Milan was paint the Virgin of the Rocks. This painting was very important in the history of art. Before it was painted, most artists would outline their people and use very flat backgrounds. Leonardo painted his figures without outlining them. He made the shadowy part of the people almost blend into the mysterious background. The parts of the people that have light on them seem to come forward and appear almost three-dimensional. A lot of people must have liked the Virgin of the Rocks because a few years later, Leonardo painted another one. They look almost exactly the same. Look at how much more lifelike Leonardo's painting is than this painting, which was done about the same time by another artist. Before Leonardo moved to Milan, he promised the Duke of Milan that he would make him war machines to protect the city against the Duke's enemies. This seemed like an unusual thing for Leonardo to do because he was a very gentle person who hated war. Leonardo made lots of drawings of these machines. Some of them seemed as if they would work, but some of them didn't look like they would work at all. Gee, I wish that Leonardo guy was on our side. The Last Supper. Leonardo da Vinci's greatest work was done for the wall of a dining room that was used by the monks at the Church of Santa Maria del Grazi in Milan. The Last Supper shows Jesus with his closest friends, the 12 apostles. Leonardo used all the things he had learned while doing his earlier paintings. The shadows, lighting, and background make this a beautiful painting. The special way Leonardo placed the men around the table gives him a feeling of movement that had never been seen before. Today, parts of the Last Supper are hard to see because the paint is chipping off. Leonardo was always experimenting with and making his own paint. The paint he made for the Last Supper didn't work very well. The Last Supper isn't the only painting that gave Leonardo problems. In one painting of a battle scene, the paint almost melted off the wall when Leonardo tried to dry it with fire pots. The Madonna and Child looks all wrinkly because Leonardo may have mixed too much oil in the paint. Some things that happened to Leonardo's paintings weren't his fault. It seems that people just couldn't keep their hands off his work. The bottom of Ginevra da Vinci was cut off, and the painting of Saint Jerome was cut in half and used as a tabletop. Someone even cut the sides off Leonardo's most famous painting, the Mona Lisa. Ever since Leonardo painted the Mona Lisa, people have been talking about the mysterious look the lady has, especially her smile. No matter where you stand, the Mona Lisa is always looking right into your eyes. I've got this great frame, but the painting's too big. Don't worry, if I can make you a table, I can fit a painting into a frame. The background of the Mona Lisa is very interesting too. It looks like it's part of a science fiction or fairy tale world. In a strange way, Mona Lisa and the background seem to blend together. Leonardo painted only a few pictures after the Mona Lisa. He was more interested in working on his inventions and experiments. He spent the last years of his life in France, a guest of the King of France, making notes and drawings about his discoveries. He died there in 1519. Leonardo da Vinci was one of the first artists to make his paintings seem real in all ways. He gave the people in his paintings a feeling of movement and being alive. He used dark shadows and light colors to make what he was painting seem to come toward you and away from the painting. Leonardo made his beautiful backgrounds a special part of the whole picture. He always tried to make his paintings as perfect and close to nature as possible. Artists ever since Leonardo da Vinci have learned from the discoveries he made. It's not easy to see a real Leonardo da Vinci painting. There's only one in the United States. The rest are in Europe. The paintings in this book are in the museums listed below. Maybe someday you'll be lucky enough to go to one of these museums and see for yourself how beautiful Leonardo's work is. Alright guys, so that concludes our story for today. Thank you so much for joining me, Ms. Oropeza, along with this storytelling time, and stay tuned for some more. Thank you.